Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, let's just start right here. Take a moment right now and just bring your attention into your body.
Right.
Really notice what happens, say, the moment an email lands in your inbox, one with a kind of ambiguous subject line. Or maybe when you walk into a meeting and you can just feel the tension in the room.
Yeah, that immediate tightening.
Exactly. That instant bracing, maybe the shoulders climbing up towards your ears, or you notice your breath suddenly gets shallow, maybe your hands go cold. It happens so fast.
Before you even consciously think, oh, this is stressful.
Right, before the mind even fully registers a threat. And the thing is, this often isn't really about that email or that meeting. It's your body, which is like this incredible archive, remembering all the times before.
All those moments.
Every single instance where maybe criticism popped up unexpectedly, or where you felt your voice got silenced, or you just felt that wave of judgment.
The echoes.
So our mission today, really, it's pretty simple. We just want to invite you and ourselves to notice where that tension lives, not trying to fix it or analyze it away, but just to be present with it.
Meeting ourselves exactly where we are.
Because the body isn't broken, is it? It's just,
Right.
well, it's speaking. It's holding the score from the past, often for very good reasons.
And it's fascinating, isn't it, how often these physical remnants, these echoes of past pain, they show up in ways that are hard to pin down. People talk about, a tightness in the chest, or this feeling of shrinking inwards.
That like curling up.
Or that weird sensation, maybe your legs feel weak when you feel unseen, or like you don't have backup. It's so easy to just label it stress.
Right, just, oh, I'm stressed today.
But often it's much more specific. It's the body's immediate, somatic reality of history that hasn't quite settled, hasn't integrated.
Okay, let's dig into that idea, a bit unintegrated history. In Gestalt therapy, they talk about unfinished business, right? But let's not get too theoretical. How does this actually feel? What does it look like physically when something is unfinished?
Well, think of it like this. An experience has a natural life cycle. A feeling arises, energy moves, there's an action, then completion. Unfinished business is when that cycle got stopped somewhere.
It's okay.
Maybe a feeling wasn't safe to feel completely, so you clamped down on it, or there was a movement your body needed to make, like pushing away or reaching out, but it couldn't happen, or maybe a simple no got stuck in your throat.
Okay.
And because the energy that mobilized for that original response never got to sort of discharge, the body often stays frozen in the posture of that incomplete moment. It holds that tension, sometimes for years.
Wow.
And it keeps echoing the original sensation over and over, almost like it's hoping this time it'll get to finish, hoping for a different response.
And that explains why it's just so deeply frustrating when we try to logic our way out of it. You tell yourself, come on, I've journaled about this, I've talked about this, it's in the past, I know better now.
Oh, completely. But the jaw is still tight, or the stomach is in knots.
Yeah.
Because the intellectual mind, it might have moved on, it gets the timeline. But the body, it doesn't really care about logic or calendars. It seems to respond only to, presence and contact.
Presence and contact, meaning?
Meaning it needs to be met right where it is, in this moment. Not lectured, not analyzed from a distance, not dragged to where the mind thinks it should be, just met.
Okay, let's make this really concrete. Think about someone, maybe, let's call her Anna. Anna's brilliant, really capable, but in meetings, especially professional ones, she feels her throat just close up. Her voice kind of disappears right when she wants to contribute something important.
A common experience.
And what does she do? She blames herself, right? I'm just not assertive enough. I need more confidence. So she reads articles, maybe practices power poses, trying to fix the symptom.
Trying to override the physical response.
Exactly. But if we were to, trace that feeling back, we might find, say, 8-year-old Anna. She's reciting a poem in class, full of excitement, and she gets laughed at. And in that single sharp moment, her young system makes a decision, a deep protective one. If I speak up like that, I'll be shamed. It's dangerous.
A survival strategy.
Totally. And now, 30 years later, that same protective strategy, that physical clenching, it's still running the show every time a similar context arises, trying to speak in a group. The body remembers the danger.
And that right there, that's the shift in understanding we're pointing to. That constriction, that sudden knot in the stomach or the shaky voice, it's not a personal failing. It's not weakness.
It's what?
It's an act of protection. Maybe even, you could say, exquisite, life-saving protection based on the resources that younger self had at the time. It was an adaptation to keep you safe.
Yes. It's like the body did a brilliant job protecting that younger part of you, with the only tools it had. The problem isn't the strategy itself.
The problem is.
The problem is simply that the body, deep down, never got the memo that the danger actually passed. That you, the adult you, are not powerless in the same way anymore. You have more resources now.
Right. The memo didn't arrive or it wasn't believed.
And the only way, really, to send that updated message, that internal memo saying it's actually safe now, is to come home to the body, to meet it, not as some kind of broken project to be fixed.
But as a living, feeling companion, ready for contact, ready to be heard.
So let's try that just for a moment. Let's practice coming home. This is just about noticing a phenomenological observation, simply noticing what is right now in your physical experience. No judgment, no need to change anything.
Just awareness.
Yeah, just scan internally. Where is your weight resting right now? On your feet, your seat. Are your hands open, maybe resting softly, or are they curled up a bit, maybe tight? How about your belly? Is it soft, relaxed, or is it kind of braced?
Take a breath into that noticing.
Just be with whatever is there.
And if you did notice a specific tension, maybe in your neck or shoulders, or that familiar ache in your lower back, just consider that it might be more than just, bad posture or sleeping funny.
What else could it be?
Well, that tension in the neck, for instance, it's often the physical echo of holding your breath, of trying to stay small, maybe unnoticed in situations long ago. And that ache in the lower back, it can sometimes be the residue, the physical trace of carrying burdens, emotional, familial, that maybe weren't yours to carry alone or that you didn't have support for back then.
So these aren't just random aches. They're holding a story.
Exactly. They hold the shape of the past.
Okay, so if the body holds the story, how does it get stuck there?
To understand that, we kind of need to understand the natural, healthy flow first, right? There's this basic pattern, the cycle of experience that we actually run through constantly.
Hundreds of times a day, probably without even realizing it. It's
Right.
fundamental. Think of that something really simple, like hunger.
It starts with a sensation, a little rumble in your stomach. That sensation brings awareness, oh, I'm hungry. This awareness then triggers mobilization of energy. You start thinking about food. Maybe you feel motivated to get up.
Right, you get up.
Then you take action, you go make a sandwich, let's say. That leads to contact actually eating the sandwich, which hopefully brings satisfaction. And then finally, withdrawal, you feel full, you rest, you move on to the next thing. The cycle completes.
And this applies to emotions too.
Absolutely, same cycle. You feel a flicker of anger sensation. You become aware of it. Energy mobilizes to maybe set a boundary. You take action. Hey, please don't talk to me like that. You make contact with your need and the other person. Hopefully that brings satisfaction or relief. Then you withdraw. The anger dissipates.
Okay, that makes sense. So trauma, or what creates this deep, stuck tension we're talking about, it's basically an interruption in that natural cycle.
Precisely. The energy that mobilized for the necessary action to fight, to flee, to reach out, to say no, it never got to fully discharge. It got stopped.
How so? Give me an example.
Okay, say you felt that anger rising as a child, but you were told, don't be angry. Or maybe you were punished for it. So you swallowed it.
Pushed it down.
Yeah. That heat, that mobilized energy, it turned inward. Maybe it became that slow burn in your gut you feel now, or a perpetually clenched jaw. The body literally froze mid-motion, mid-breath, maybe mid-cry. The cycle was broken.
And we see these interruptions happening all the time, right?
Yeah.
In our current lives.
Oh, constantly. Look at someone like Sarah. Her partner says something that feels dismissive, maybe a bit sharp. She feels that sting of pain, sensation, awareness. But instead of letting the energy mobilize into saying, ouch, that hurt, she automatically puts on a smile, nods, maybe even agrees vaguely, just smooth things over.
Avoids the conflict.
Exactly. She interrupts the cycle right before the action contact stage. Later, though, she feels hollow, maybe resentful, disconnected.
Why does she do that, this smiling and nodding?
Her body is running an old protective strategy. It's trying to avoid the anticipated pain of maybe being unheard or criticized or abandoned if she did speak her truth. It might echo, say, 6-year-old Sarah, who learned that trying to express hurt or set a boundary just led to being ignored or shut down. So the body preemptively shuts it down itself.
Got it. So Sarah's smiling and nodding is one of these protective strategies that end up keeping us stuck, You call them interruption at the boundary strategies.
That's right. Think of the boundary as the place where we meet the world, where contact happens. These are ancient, embodied survival reflexes that were probably brilliant adaptations back then.
But now,
They're often the very things keeping the old cycles repeating, preventing real contact and completion. Recognizing them is key. There are about 5 main patterns people talk about.
okay, let's map those out. What's the first one?
First is retroflexion. This is literally turning the impulse back against yourself. Self-interruption.
How does that look?
You mobilize energy to maybe tell someone off or push them away physically or verbally, but instead you bite your tongue so hard it hurts. You clench your jaw until you get a headache. You tense your own shoulders instead of setting a boundary. You wanted to push them away, but you end up pushing yourself down, tensing yourself up.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. What's next?
Then there's deflection. This is about avoiding the feeling, sidestepping the direct contact altogether.
Like changing the subject.
Exactly. Or making a joke when things get too real. Or suddenly needing to check your phone, scroll through social media, anything to just not be present with the raw truth of the moment, the actual feeling. It diverts the energy away from contact.
Okay, number 3.
Confluence. This is essentially a loss of boundaries. Merging. It's where you can't tell where you end and the other person begins.
So saying yes when you mean no.
That's a big part of it. Saying yes, maybe to survive, to keep the peace, to avoid the perceived threat of separation or conflict, which can feel overwhelming, almost existential. The body might go kind of limp, accommodating, losing its own distinct shape because asserting difference feels too dangerous.
Wow. Okay, 2 more.
Next is interjection. Think of this as swallowing external voices whole, without chewing or digesting them.
Like swallowing rules or expectations.
Precisely. The criticisms, standards, beliefs, the shoulds and shouldn'ts from parents, culture, authority figures, you take them in completely unfiltered. You should be more successful, becomes an internal, I must be more successful. And often you can literally see it in the body, people hunching under the weight of these interjected expectations that were never truly theirs.
That's powerful. And the last one?
Finally, there's projection. This is basically the opposite of interjection. You take what's inside you, an unmet feeling, an unacknowledged impulse, and you attribute it to the outside world.
So instead of feeling my own anxiety,
You say, they are making me anxious, or this situation is making me angry. You project your internal heat, your pressure, your disowned feelings onto others or the environment. It keeps the feeling out there and prevents you from having to own it and make contact with it within yourself.
okay, so retroflexion, deflection, confluence, interjection, projection. These are survival tools.
Absolutely. Brilliant ones in their original context. But they come at a cost. Authentic contact with ourselves, with others, and with the present moment. They keep the past alive by interrupting the now.
So if these interruptions are the problem, what's the revolution? How do we move towards completion?
Well, it starts with responsibility. And I don't mean blame at all. I mean realizing, okay, this pattern, this tension, this interruption, it's happening in me, therefore it's mine to meet. That's where the power lies.
Taking ownership.
Yes. And the path towards completion, paradoxically, often involves non-interruption. It means consciously choosing to stay with the sensation, to let the impulse live, even just for a moment longer than usual, even if it's only in your imagination or in tiny micro-movements.
Staying right at that edge where the cycle usually gets stuck.
Exactly that edge. You gently meet the energy that was frozen.
Can you give an example of what that looks like?
Sure. Think of Daniel. Growing up, his anger was always met with icy silence, total shutdown from his caregivers. So as an adult, anger felt terrifying, and it showed up as a locked jaw, hands that felt kind of numb or frozen.
The retroflexion.
Right. One evening, his partner makes a thoughtless comment, and that familiar wave of frustrated anger rises. The old pattern is to clamp down, withdraw, maybe feel that headache start.
But this time,
He pauses. He notices the heat, the tension in his jaw and hands. Instead of swallowing it, he consciously chooses to excuse himself. He goes into the next room. And he lets that energy move. He doesn't punch a wall, but maybe he lets his fists clench and unclench. Maybe he hits a pillow or a soft towel, letting the physical impulse discharge. And then maybe tears come weeping for that younger self who was never allowed that release.
he completed the physical cycle within himself.
Yes. He met the energy, allowed the action in a safe way, and the outcome. It wasn't like a magic wand, no more anger ever, but it was a huge shift.
What happened when he went back to his partner?
He went back, and for the first time, instead of silence or passive aggression, he could actually say, maybe with a voice that trembled a little but was clear, hey, when you said that it hurt, I need 5 minutes before we talk more.
Wow. he set a boundary.
He completed the cycle internally first, which then allowed him to make authentic contact externally. He didn't need his partner to change first. He met his own experience.
And that, right there, that feels like what freedom actually is. It's not that the tension magically disappears forever because life happens, right?
Tension will always arise.
You're alive.
But freedom is maybe the presence of choice in that moment. The ability to stay embodied, to be in the present, even with the discomfort.
And every single time you manage to stay with the sensation, even for a breath longer, and honor the impulse in some small way, you're essentially teaching your body, reprogramming that old survival response. You're saying, see, it actually is safe to feel this now. It's safe to be here. It's safe to be alive in this way.
So the practice we're really suggesting here, the work, maybe, for this month, it's not some overwhelming task of releasing the entire past.
No, goodness no, that's too big. The work is simply to complete the present. One sensation, one breath, one moment of choosing real contact with yourself first at a time.
Okay, and maybe a final thought to leave everyone with. This practice, this journey of coming home to the body, it's not really a destination, is it? You don't arrive and then you're done.
Not in my experience. You'll likely find yourself back in those old patterns sometimes. The clench, the brace, the urge to deflect. Because life is messy, and these patterns are deep. Freedom isn't a fixed state. It's more like a rhythm.
A constant returning.
Yeah, a constant returning to presence, to awareness. Every time you feel that familiar tension rise and you manage to pause, even for a second, you're deepening the connection. You're embodying yourself more fully. You're reclaiming a little piece of your aliveness that got frozen. So the invitation, the challenge perhaps, is to start approaching that tension not as an enemy to be conquered, but maybe as a messenger. A messenger from the past, yes, but arriving in the present. And to choose, maybe just this time, to stay, to listen, and perhaps to finally move through it.